talking about being connected or building connections, eh, I think I've mentioned this idea of being vulnerable, and being vulnerable isn't necessarily this idea of being all gushy mushy with people and being all say and just kind of this. It's about being real. They did this study out of Berkeley, or it was more of an experiment where they got these people together, the people who volunteered who wanted to do this, and they just paired them up randomly with strangers. They sat them down at these tables, and then for 45 minutes had them go through question by question, 36 questions. And progressively, the questions got a little bit more intense or a little bit more personal, but again, they weren't like these super, what's your deepest darkest secret, the idea, or kind of what's the worst thing you've ever done. More of just these questions of helping them kind of just share real personal ideas, opinions, goals. What is it that they like about the other person, like, and expecting or encouraging real answers, not putting the mask on and projecting this or portraying this character, but being sincere and and sharing that self, that true self. And these questions, again, starting pretty light and going a little bit more deep, after 45 minutes, these people would say that they felt more connected and more like this person knew them better than the majority of their friends and family. Random stranger, after 45 minutes, seemed to know more about them and care more about them than the majority of friends and family. And that just blows your mind that doesn't have to be about time. It can be. And there does need to be some time involved, but it doesn't necessarily need to develop over months and years of these long, deep, emotional conversations. It's more of you practicing being sincere and open with the person you're talking to, that you're sharing, like we kind of talked about yesterday, your real thoughts, sharing your real self, and being honest with them about what you think about things. That if you're not okay when they ask you, hey, how you doing, you don't just say, oh, I'm good. You tell them, hey, I'm struggling a little bit today, I'm feeling a little bit tired, I'm stressed out. Hey, I'm actually doing fantastic. Going beyond just the rote script that we follow in day-to-day life, and actually thinking about and responding to people. That type of vulnerability will help build that sense of community and connection because you're being real, and that invites other people to be real with you. I've used the word today a couple times of sincerity, and the word sincerity comes from two different things: sin, which is without, cera or sincerity, or kind of this word of meaning wax, without wax. And it came from like the Roman time period, when people would have these jars, these vases, these beautiful things of works of art made out of clay or stone, and people would come and buy it. And if there were any imperfections, it would mean it would cost less because it would be as functional or as beautiful. And so, what some vendors would do is they would fill in the gaps and the cracks and the deficits with wax to cover it up, to hide it. And then, when people would take it, they'd buy it because it looks great, and they would take it home, and then the hot days with the sun would come, and the wax would melt and kind of move away, and the imperfections would be available, would be visible. And so people would get angry and upset that they were um, trapped, or they were bamboozled, tricked into buying something that was less quality because they didn't have it up front. They might have bought it anyways, but because it was lied about and hidden, it was upsetting. And so they would start saying, I want it sincera, without wax. I want this sincerely. And so for us to kind of remove some of the wax, remove the wax when we're talking with those those we want to be close to us, the people we've chosen, the people we are opening up to build these connections, to build this community with. When we can remove that wax and be real with them, they're going to see the imperfections. They might not like it, they might not want it, but then we're being honest, and in that creates this they then become to like you. Another part of this, without being kind of being just real with somebody and vulnerable with somebody, is this idea that if you're putting on this mask and being there will always be this doubt of, they don't really like me, they just like who I pretend to be. And that creates that distance, that even though we're surrounded and we're having fun, we're having fun, we're talking with all these people, we can feel so disconnected because there will be that sense of that's not really who I am. They don't really like who I am. They like this portrayal, this projection, this character I've created. Taking the time now and again today to write what are some of those things that you try to cover up, some of the character flaws, not necessarily the addiction or the bad habits, but some of the character flaws, some of the things that or opinions or ideas that you could be more open about. When are some times that you can take to maybe go through some of those questions? I'll kind of add a link to those 36 questions that you can just start to take that time, 30 minutes, to have a conversation with someone who's close to you and see how you feel and how they feel after both of you are just being honest and open, being yourself with them. My assumption, again, is most people are going to like you better than the projection of you. They're going to like you better than the mask. Because when we do have those real conversations and we are honest and direct, people can respect that. Take the time to write through those things and to think about what are some of the areas that you cover up that you have this tendency to hide and ways that you can share and open up to be yourself.